action.
Action, yeah. So, before we start, just like a small reminder, please don't believe anything I say.
Okay, bye.
Always keep what resonates with you, and what doesn't resonate, just let it go. Okay, so this is just an open discussion. This is not me to emphasize my truth. Okay, good. So today we're going to talk about surrender. And before we talk about this topic, because most people understand it as giving up, in a way, but when you say give up, it has a negative connotation, because in a way you're like giving up or letting go into more suffering. You know, that's basically the meaning that people give it. However, surrendering, it's giving up, but into more love, to put it shortly. But before we go there, I need to talk about the conscious universe. So, first of all, we live in a universe, in a reality that is conscious. Because from an early age, we were taught that we are the most intelligent beings on the planet and in the universe, and we are alone in the universe, and nobody is smarter than us, right? So, because of that, because we have this mentality or program within us, we believe that, it's like I can only base myself on what I know or what other people know. And there is no higher intelligence in the universe, right? Because it's like we didn't found it yet, scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
However, the universe is not dead, the universe is not random, and the universe is not just physical. Okay, the universe is alive, and there is a higher consciousness at play. So just be careful with that one. Yeah, so there is a higher consciousness at play, and the universe that we're living in, it's alive. So we start from this concept. And because everything...
Alive or alive?
Alive.
Okay.
Yes, it's like vida. And conscious. And because of this, we start from this concept that besides us, there is a higher intelligence or a higher mind, or what we can call is the mind of the universe, right? We can call it gods, Allah, universe, like source, whatever you want to call it. However, it is there. This consciousness, this energy, this something, it is there. Some may feel it, some may not feel it. However, through your experience and through your life, you may have seen it or experienced it in some way or form. Whenever you had a moment, for example, where things were difficult, right? And you couldn't just do them anymore, and then you were like, okay, fuck it, like I let it go. And then after that, something good happened, right? Suddenly, like out of nowhere, like something appeared, and it was good. Like at the end, right? Did that happen before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you think that was? We can call it luck, we can call it a miracle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, there are all of those, but it's actually the higher mind that is behind the scenery or in the background. Another thing is that we think that we control our life. Yes. In a way, in a percentage, yes, we control our life, but there are other forces and other consciousnesses higher up that direct the bigger flow of life. So we can direct our own small actions, but there is a bigger flow, a bigger consciousness that is directing the bigger actions. Like, for example, you need to go there, you need to travel there, you need to live there, and whatever else happens in our life. Because when there are certain situations or events, right, that you say like, how did this happen? It was like meant to be, almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense so far?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
So because of this, you need to know that there is a higher mind, the mind of the universe, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And this mind knows more than you know, and also this consciousness loves you more than you love yourself. and knows more about you than you know about yourself. So basically, since I know that at the beginning it may be difficult to understand it or to say like, oh, it exists or not exists, but through meditation, through yoga, through certain spiritual practices, you may get in contact with it, and you will start to feel it. And it's basically a feeling or a frequency that you can call God, universe, source, love, however you want to call it. It's a feeling that is so different than any other feeling, and just like when you are in contact with it, you feel completely aligned and you feel like one with the universe, to say so. And I know that it's hard, or like maybe it doesn't make sense logically, but when you go through the experience and then you match what you know with what you feel, then it makes sense, right? So first of all, we need experience. Because without experience, everything that we say is just like beautiful words, right? Okay. So we have the greater mind at play that is always connected with us, always attentive, and always aware of us. And also, not only the universal mind, but we also have a greater intelligence within our body. We call it the subconscious mind. That is hundreds of times more intelligent and more powerful than our own conscious mind, right? Because we have our own mind and we have the subconscious mind. Also the mind that beats our heart, digests our food, heals our wounds. Can we do that consciously? Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the subconscious mind can do that. Okay, so that is also another level of higher intelligence. And they're all connected there, basically. So you can all call them the same thing, because they're all connected. Your subconscious is connected to the universal mind, and it's just like everything is connected in that fashion. Okay, so then, if we know about the universal mind, or this higher force, God, source, however you want to call it, what does it mean to surrender? So basically, to surrender is you are not giving up on what you want or on your goal, you're giving up on the way you get to that goal, or on the how that goal is manifested or comes to be, right? Because when you surrender, when you let go of your way of doing stuff. And what you surrender is, when you surrender, is you're allowing the universal mind or the God mind to step in and do that thing for you in its own way.
It's actually like giving up on the control.
Exactly.
And letting the universe come with its flow and let you guide you, and at that point you're able to see what the universe is bringing that for you, so that you can take the decisions but based on what the universe is bringing, not...
Exactly, because how this works is we have a free will. So we have a free will, and we can do what we decide to do. Because of this, we can do stuff our way, right? Usually the human way, we call it. And usually our way is basically programs that we learn from other people, right? How you make money? Oh, you work hard. How do you get a relationship? Oh, you need to do this and this. All of this we learn them from other people. Okay? I'm not saying that method doesn't work, but there are also other methods that could work even better. We just don't know about it, right? And basically this is like, we have our own way of doing stuff, and let's say, we have our own model of reality, of how we think reality works, right? And this is because we have a free will. And we can do what we want, basically. No, okay, not exactly, not everything what we want, but more or less what we want. And because of this, because we have a free will, the universe loves us so much that it lets us. Okay? If you want to do stuff, and for example you're suffering and you're going through hard times because of the method that you're using, the universe will not stop you, will allow it, because you are, it's like you have the free will to do so. You have the free will to experience suffering, to experience hardship. when you give up your way and you say like, God, universe, source, however you want it, I surrender, then the universe is like, okay, I'm going to pick it up. And then the universe comes and delivers it or works in your behalf. Another analogy for this is, imagine that you're driving a car and then you're driving and then suddenly like a difficult road appears. And then it's like you're getting more stress and then it's like you don't have the skills to drive it anymore. And what you do is like, okay, Jesus, take the wheel, and then you let the universe like basically drive the car. But in order for you to have the trust to surrender and to let go, you need to know to whom you're letting go to. Does it make sense?
To whom?
To the universe, yes. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have this connection with that frequency, with that energy, then it's much harder to release it because you do not trust it, right? We do not trust what we do not know.
Also, you don't even think about that option.
Yeah, that's the thing, because there are different ways of functioning. There are different realities. So you can function just with your own powers, or you can use other powers for your benefit. When I mean other powers, I mean to use the energetic methods and the universe. Because it's like there is also another way, explanation. It's if you need to find a needle in the haystack, you can do it your way, like try to find it and it take hours or days, or you can use another way with a very powerful magnet and then suddenly you find the needle. So this is the same way, the same like two realities that you can work with. So yes, this is what it is about surrendering. It's about giving up your way or your model of reality and letting the higher mind do the work for you. But the thing is, it will do the work in how the universe wants to, not how you want it to do it. Make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's why we need to be in complete surrender. So we like to let go of all control of how it happens or when it happens. Another analogy, actually before that, why is it so hard to surrender? It's so hard to surrender, and actually you don't need to surrender all the time, because at the beginning we like to explore ourselves, right? We like to test ourselves. We like to see what we're capable of. And yeah, it's fine. It's just like a part of the experience. Just to discover ourselves, to discover our limits. And then what we tend to do is we tend to do stuff our own way, right? Whenever like the parents were telling you like, oh, just like, cut the potatoes that way, it's better. And I'm like, no, I'm going to cut them how I want to cut them. And you do your method, you see that it will take longer, and then you're like, oh, actually that method is faster. So you wanted to experiment, you wanted to play around with. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like doing it your way, it's not a bad thing. There is no judgment with it. You're just like exploring, you're just like playing around and testing yourself, right? You just want to see like, okay, I want to do it my way. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Then there comes the time.
What about when you don't know how you want to do something? You are to say this? Because in a way it's like in a way it's like the energy that put there available in a kind of like situation is kind of like the contribution, like the seed for that situation to happen in your life in that way. I mean,
I don't really understand it.
I mean,
can you try to
translate?
Yeah, a bit. Or like give me an example.
Okay. So, for example, I don't know. Imagine that you have a lot of indecision in your life, or you are in a period of
a lot of indecision.
Indecision.
Yes.
Yeah. Indecision, and then you have situations where it's showing you a lot of indecision, or you meet people that are very indecisive, or like even it could be like
I see what you're going with.
Even like and how to say this, like it's like I feel that maybe like unconsciously we are, well, maybe no, but whatever, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe sometimes, but the thing is that maybe sometimes unconsciously we are like choosing that situation to happen, to make it happen in our lives, because somehow we need to get something from the situation, we need to learn something, we need to transform it into something, or we just need to go through that. I don't mean that we are choosing suffering consciously, but in a way it is there to it is always all the time showing us something. Sometimes it's about a wooden part of ourselves from childhood, another situation. So it's like,
I know.
You get my point?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you
really
mean. Yes, like some situations are there because we have some type of program that we're not aware of, and we're like running that program.
Yes.
And it's like the universe will allow us to run it because we need to become aware of it.
Yeah.
Makes sense? That's what you want to say, in a way?
In a way, yes, but also in a way that, for example, if you are like, I don't know, imagine that you had a period where you weren't in a relationship, let's say, like for a long time, and then you are like kind of bringing and building up this energy of, okay, I'm gonna like, find this partner because I'm, whatever, because you believe on it, and you have been working on that or whatever, and then you meet this person and it works. Or the other way, like you are not really sure of what you want, and like you are kind of like more exploring, and then you meet this person who like also doesn't know what he wants, and then there is a lot of confusion, and you know what I mean, like that. It's kind of like the energy that you are with or you bring with you. It is also like being shown in your situations.
You attract something similar.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't find the word, sorry.
No, but I understand, because it's kind of like a reflection of what you have, and also you attract what you have inside.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like basically,
and maybe you need to go through that to just realize, oh, this is what I want. Now I know this is not. Now I know this works. This doesn't. This I pick up. This I don't. This I transform it. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a process of experiment, basically. Yeah. So that's like a lot of us go through it. So it makes sense.
But do you have a question to it?
No, it was just a comment. Very long one, sorry.
Another thing that just came now to mind is about why we should surrender. Because there will come a point in your evolution where you will no longer want to follow yourself or follow your desires just because you know that what the universe or what this surrendering can bring you will be 10 times better than anything you can think of. Because you need to imagine that everything that we desire or we want, all of these desires are actually coming from the past or from what we already know. Either from other persons, from our life, or from general society. So basically when you say what do you want? It's like, I want to be successful, house, pool, wife, blah, 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 and all of that. Most of those desires, they are coming from what we already know. And from what we already see from other people. Make sense? But when you surrender, then you're opening up yourself for new possibilities that you don't even know they exist, and you don't even know that you would want them in the first place. So, because most of our desires or most of the things that we want them because this is the only thing we know. Okay, so imagine your vision is like this, but the universe is 360 degrees. And the universe is you want this, I know you want this, But this part is much better, and I know you will love it much more, because again, the universe knows you much more. And what usually happens is we struggle to get what we want, and when we don't get it, if you surrender, then you are opening yourself up to be redirected to something even better. Mm-hmm. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Because once you get, like I had a state in meditation, I call it the state of no desire. Because in that state, I literally have no desire. Like, it's everything that I want, it's already here in the feeling state, not in the physical. Okay?
Yeah, because also like the desiring is like all the time kind of wanting something like it's more in the future somehow.
Like expectations, I think like we're connected with expectations.
Yeah, like
because if you focus like on, if you in that state that you call non-desire, it's like all we need in a way is what we have inside of us. I mean, you can function, you can breathe, you can eat, you can. So speaking in normal state of.
Yeah. So basically, that state. Actually, let me explain something else, and then we're gonna come back to it because it's all related. So basically, I talked a few months ago about ego desires, right? You hear this like topic a lot, like ego desires or ego something like that. Okay, what those desires actually are, it's basically they are like, let's say like some parts of you that are empty that you're trying to fill them up. And basically, how you're trying to fill them up, you're trying to fill them up through the physical world. But that will not work because it doesn't matter how much you have in the physical, if it's missing on the inside, doesn't matter how much you have on the outside, it will not fill it in. And this may be like, oh, I want a partner because I don't feel loved. And what you want is not actually the partner, it's you want to feel loved. The feeling of being loved. Makes sense?
Yes, yes.
Another thing is like, oh, I want money, fame, and recognition. Why do you want them? It's like, I want them because I want to be seen, I want to be appreciated, and it's like those feelings you actually want them. You don't want the fame, the all of that. Makes sense?
Yes.
So in a way, again, I'm not saying like you shouldn't have them. You should have like all the riches of the earth, like everything. But you shouldn't need it.
But sometimes this is like covering an underneath need that is not fulfilled.
Exactly.
From your essence, from your deeper true self. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah. That's basically like, because all ego desires, they're all like desires because there is something missing on the inside, and you're chasing it on the outside.
But this is also like connected with the like society, the way that families raise us, because we have all been born with the concept of we are not a complete humans.
Exactly.
Like this idea of the
half
of the other half, the soulmate. All those things could possibly happen, but it doesn't mean that there is someone that comes here to complement you. You're already complete, but you exchange, you share, But there is this idea that is very, very rooted, in all of us.
Yeah, like basically that was the old reality, and now it's like, basically like introducing a new reality or a new concept. So basically, we have a lot of programs, a lot of limitations that we were taught and learned by society, family, and stuff like that, because they were also learned again by themselves, right? It's like a cycle. So basically, coming back to this state, it's most of your desires that you want are actually emotional in nature. So it's like you want stuff because you want to feel that certain emotion within you, right? Makes sense? Of course, you also need stuff on the outside, like food, shelter, clothes, all of that, right? For what the body needs. But then when you start to look at them and get all of these feelings within you, then you get to the state of no desire. and it's an amazing state. Like you will get there like sooner or later. However, once you get to that state when you're so connected, you won't, even if you want something, you won't say like, oh, I want this, because you know that even like your desire, it's limited compared to what the universe may offer you. So what you do is instead of going out for the desire, you surrender and you give this desire to the higher mind, and it's like, okay, this is what I want. If you give me better, even better. Does it make sense in a way?
Mm-hmm.
So you surrender your desire to the universe, and it's something like, okay, this is what I want, and then it's like it's like a request, and that's why it's better to surrender in a way, because through experience you will see that the universe will bring you stuff that it will be 1,000,000 times better than whatever you imagine. You couldn't even imagine. Like that's how amazing the universe brings stuff into you. Does it make sense? This picture?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this is basically the surrender. The surrender is you are giving up on your method of getting stuff, or your method, and you're allowing the higher mind to work through you and for you. Make sense? But again, this higher mind will only work through its own ways. So you cannot impose your ways on it, because it's control, right? You're trying to control it. So that's why full surrender, you let go, and the universe will go and jump and help you. Of course, this depends from situation to situation, but the general thing is that there is a higher mind that is orchestrating what is happening in your life and what is happening and not happening. So, yeah. So this is important. And another thing is, because now this quote came into my mind, when you get a rejection, it's not a rejection, it's a redirection.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's why if you want to surrender, the first step would be to get in contact with this higher awareness or higher energy. Because you need to trust it. You need to be in contact with it. So then it's much easier to say like, okay, I trust you, I give this to you. You know, I surrender this, I don't know, situation, this person, this desire to you. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the first step. After that, it will be much easier for you to surrender, and then to actually, because the more you surrender, you will see that the more you surrender, the more you will do it. And once you surrender everything, even your own life, basically, which is, you don't surrender your life, you surrender your ego, then you get to the levels of masters. Because masters, what they are, they're basically allowing the full flow of spirit or the universe to work through them. They have no limitations and they have no resistances. Because in a way, imagine like you get this inspiration that comes through you, but because we have these resistances, these programs, these limiting beliefs, we're like, no, I don't want to do that, it's scary, because the universe, imagine like the universe is like sending through you the message, is like, okay, go there and do some public speaking on this topic. And if you have some resistance to public speaking, you will not go there, right? Mm-hmm. So then what's happening? Is the universe blocking you, or is the program blocking you? Make sense? Once you get rid of all of these programs and once you surrender, then imagine like this flow can go through you, and then you just like go with the flow. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's basically like that. It's just like letting go of control and actually making a relationship, creating a relationship with this force, with this higher force. Does it make sense?
So how they recognize which flow from universe or programs of my ego? Okay,
that's a good question. Yes, so when usually you will feel it in the heart. So the heart, it's a good way to see if the desire is ego-driven or coming from a higher source. Because if it's coming from a higher source, you will feel light and you will feel at ease. Very important.
And no tension, yeah?
No tension, yes, because the universe has no tension. We have tension, that's all. Another thing that you may recognize is something that is orchestrated by the universe will happen so easy, so fast, without any delay and without any resistance. Most of the time. And usually when this stuff is from ego-driven, or basically like the universe, the spirit doesn't have its backup, like to it, usually there will be some resistances. I don't know, for example, one of my stories is coming here. Like, I wanted to come here. I really had the desire. I don't know if that desire was from me or I got it from higher up. But I was like, yes, I want this. And it happened so fast and so quick that I was like, what happened? You know, and I actually, like, now looking back at it, I feel that I was not in control. You know, I was just like, it was not me doing it. It was something like imagine like the wind just like carrying me here.
Like you feel like kick that you need to do it and like.
Exactly. Yes. It's like you need to get more sensitive with your body and with your energy, and then you'll start to feel the small differences between like what is your programs and what is, let's say, an intuitive message. But again, this is where the work is, to become more sensitive and to know the difference between like a message or a feeling that comes from, like, let's say, above, or your own programs. And you will feel it in the body. Because for me, I feel these intuitive messages, I feel them in the body. It's like I feel them like a wave that is coming like this, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Even like this topic, I felt that it came to me.
Yeah, how do you choose the topics?
I don't. No, what I do is basically I ask like, okay, what do the people need? And that's what I do. What do the people need? I'm like open, and then like the topic comes to me. Because before, when last week I was like, oh, this week we're gonna do manifestation. And then I didn't feel it. I was like, and then this topic out of nowhere came, and I was like, okay, this is what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And I got all the information, everything, and I was like, okay, this is the one. You know, and I really feel that this is like what we need to talk about today. Will we talk next week? I know, we will see. I have some plans, but I'm just like super open. If I don't get anything else, we're gonna go with that plan. And I still feel it's like not yet, but we'll see. Yes. Okay. Makes sense? Do you have any other questions? If not, you can just close it.
Till next time.